Okay, let's dive right into this. I'm going to start with a few rapid-fire questions. Just see if any of these resonate. You know the type. Everyone thinks they're an absolute angel, just the most charming person. But behind closed doors, they're someone else entirely. Or maybe you've just kind of looked around and realized your friends, even your family, have sort of faded away, and you can't for the life of you figure out how that happened. If you're sitting there nodding along right now, well, this explainer is going to connect a lot of dots for you. So we're going to be talking about a very specific psychological profile, what the clinical sources call a narcissistic pervert, or PN for short. Now look, I know that sounds like just a nasty insult, right? But it's actually a real clinical term, especially in European psychology. It describes a master chameleon, someone who can literally change who they are to control any situation, any person, any room they walk into. You're probably thinking, okay, that just sounds like a sociopath. And it's a fair question, but there is a crucial difference, and this is everything. A sociopath uses you. They're transactional, cold. When they're done, they'll just replace you without a second thought, like that guy Damien from the case studies. But a PN needs you. They are absolutely terrified of abandonment. They literally feed on your emotional reactions. Think of Frederick from the reports, who just completely panics when his wife even tries to leave. Understanding that deep, desperate neediness, that's the key to the whole puzzle. And here's the thing, this manipulative pattern isn't just a romance problem. No, this chameleon shows up in pretty much every area of our lives. It usually takes on one of four distinct faces. So, in a relationship, they're the subtle critic. You know, like Isabel's partner, who would just slowly chip away at her confidence with these little backhanded compliments. At the office, they're the credit thief. That boss, like Benoit, who takes all the glory for your work but disappears when there's blame to be had. As a friend, they're the center of attention, the one who has to diminish your good news to make sure the spotlight swings back to them. And in a family, they can be the identity destroyer, messing with your reality from day one, making you question your own mind. So the big question is, how do you actually spot one? Well, since they're such masters of disguise, your best bet is to learn to spot the moments when the mask slips, even for a second. The source materials give us what is basically a detection toolkit, a set of red flags to watch out for. And here's how it escalates. It starts with that double face, right? The public angel, private tormentor. Then comes the gaslighting, the systematic rewriting of your reality. And it can get so bad. There's this one woman in the studies, Sophie Lambert, who had to start taking screenshots of her own texts just to have proof that she wasn't actually going crazy. Then you layer on this profound, hollow lack of empathy and the weaponization of silence, the cold shoulder as psychological torture. It's a really, really destructive pattern. This quote from Claire Dubois just nails it, doesn't it? Trapped in an emotional washing machine. That feeling of being constantly thrown off balance, never knowing what's coming next, that's no accident. That's their signature move, the hot and cold cycle. And this is the part that is so important to understand, that hot and cold treatment. It's not a mood swing. It's not them being unpredictable. No, it is a deliberate, calculated strategy. And its purpose is to hijack your brain chemistry and create a literal addiction to them. Here's how they do it. It happens in 3 phases. Phase 1, love bombing. They shower you with affection. Your brain is flooded with dopamine and you feel this incredible high. Then, bam. Phase 2, devaluation. All that warmth vanishes. They turn ice cold, and your brain goes into severe chemical withdrawal. It's desperate, and that sets up phase 3, intermittent reinforcement, where you're conditioned to scramble and chase that next hit of affection. If you have ever been through this, please hear me. You were not weak. Your brain was fighting a physiological addiction. So if you can't reason with them, and you definitely can't change them with love, what do you do? Well, you need a plan. You need a tactical exit strategy. And the sources lay out a really clear, actionable roadmap to get out safely. First things first, stop trying to explain your pain. To them, your emotions are just fuel. They're proof that they have power over you. Second, learn the gray rock technique. Become as boring and unresponsive as a gray rock. Short, non-committal answers starve them of that emotional reaction they crave. Third, document everything. Keep a secret log. It'll be your anchor to reality. Fourth, and this is key, quietly rebuild your support network before you make a move. Fifth, when you're out, you go zero contact. Block them on everything. And finally, number 6, be prepared for the rage. When they realize they're losing control, they will pull out every stop to drag you back in. Getting out is the first huge battle, but the next stage of the journey is rediscovering who you even are. Because a PN's ultimate goal is to erase your identity completely, so recovery is all about finding yourself again. The sources point to 3 really crucial steps here. 1, drop the guilt. You have to really truly internalize that this was not your fault. 2, reconnect with those people who drifted away. You'll probably find they were just waiting on the sidelines for you to be free. And 3, rediscover your passions. Think of Natalie from the case studies, who went back to painting, something her mother had always made fun of, and she's now a successful artist. It's about reclaiming those parts of yourself. This brings us to what might be the single most powerful idea in all of this research. If you've lived through this, you have absolutely asked yourself, why me? And I promise you, the answer is not what you think. Let this sink in. They didn't target your flaws. They targeted your strengths. They actively hunt for people with high emotional intelligence, with deep empathy, with fierce loyalty. They saw your light, and they wanted to consume it because it's something they can never have. Your ability to see the good in people was never, ever a weakness. It is and always has been your greatest strength. And that leaves us with a really big, kind of uncomfortable question to chew on. When we look around at a corporate world that so often rewards the credit thief, or a social media economy that practically demands a chameleon-like performance, are we accidentally building systems that reward this exact playbook? Are we creating a world where empathy is punished right at the time we probably need it the most?